गजाननं भूतगणातिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बूफलसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ श्री अन्नदाय नमः। ॐ श्री वसुधाय नमः। ॐ श्री सचाम्र रमावाणी तच्छब्ददर्शन सेविताय नमः। ॐ श्री कटाक्ष किङ्करी भूतकमलाकोटि सेविताय नमः। ॐ श्री शिवसत्या ऐक्यरूपिण्यै नमः। ॐ श्री ललिताम्बिकायै नमः। ॐ श्री 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 शान्तानन्त अवधूत गुरवे नमः। ओम शक्ति ओम पराशक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम पराशक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम पराशक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम पराशक्ति ओम शक्ति ओम नमः पार्वती पतये।
हर हर महादेवा।
Namaste to all. Welcome to the first session on Lalita Sahasranamam. I am delighted to participate in this Vande Vidya Shankaram program, a lecture series which is organized by the Sringeri Vidya Bharati Foundation, SBVF North Michigan, which is doing this on Sanatana Dharma. So I'd like to first thank Sri Raja for this brief and wonderful introduction of me, and also to SPBF North for giving me this opportunity to speak at this great forum. I'm also grateful to Dr. Jambunathan, Sri Meenakshi Sundaram, and Sri Somasundaram for coordinating with me on this program. So to begin with, let me just say something about this title of this program. I was so impressed with this title, Vande Vidya Shankaram. It appeals to me immensely for two reasons. The first one is it's beautiful and it is very apt in its meaning. One day means to praise, celebrate, or bow, or worship. You all know the great song Vande Mataram, composed in Sanskrit by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. It was a source of inspiration to the people in their struggle for freedom of India. Mataram refers to mother. And I bow to thee, mother, was the meaning of this Vande Mataram. So Vidya means knowledge, and Shankaram, one who does good, like Sanskritam, what is done well. So this program provides a great inspiration to all of us, and it holds a promise to free us from ignorance as we worship knowledge and Shankara, who are inseparable. They are together always. The second reason why I love this title is really personal. The name of my Dharma Patni is Vidya, and it is nice to see that name right in the center of this title. So it gives me great pleasure on that. Coming to the subject today, you all know Sahasranamam means 1,000 names. In Sanskrit, Sahasra is 1000, and Nama is, of course, name. You see the similarity between English name and Sanskrit Nama. Even in Japanese, they call Namaiva. So I think Sanskrit and many other languages are interrelated. We will see many more examples like this. There are many Sahasranamas, as you know, like Vishnu Sahasranamam, Shiva Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, and so on. Every Sahasranama describes the infinite qualities and auspicious attributes, what you call gunas, of a deity in several different ways. What is so special about Lalita Sahasranama? It is not a single thing. There are many things special about Lalita Sahasranama. As you go along, I'm going to tell you that nowhere else in the world literature do we have anything to match this long, streamlined poem of Sahasranamam, which is densely packed with philosophy. It is a continuous recital of divine names, glories, and splendors with fantastic poetic elegance and grace. One must really hear and experience this to believe this. Lalita Sahasranama has a unique distinction among all the Sahasranamas of very beautiful verses, not repeating even a single name. Chanting this Sahasranama produces rhythmic sound effects within you, and it elevates the energy levels. Many of you may be already familiar with Lalita Sahasranamam. It is, I know many groups who do this, both at home and also in public places. There are many Sahasranamam groups. I'm sure there is one in Detroit too, in the temple. So some of you already know Lalita Sahasranamam, then you might ask, so what is there for us in your lecture? We already know it. Are you going to tell us anything more? What value addition are we going to get? Well, let me make a case for you to listen. You know, people, you can categorize them in different categories. The first category is those who know that they know. And second is those who know that they do not know. And third is those who do not know that they know. And the last, fourth category is those who do not know that they do not know. The last category is very large, and many of us fall into this group, that many of us do not know what we do not know. So I hope to tell you something that you may not know. Lalita Sahasranamam is a gold mine. The more you dig, the more nuggets you get. So if you have something which you want to hear, and I have to make myself heard, I have to expose some of those nuggets to you. In this lecture series, you will not only hear more on Sahasranamam, but also a few aspects of Sanatana Dharma, embracing it. You will also learn meanings of some beautiful Sanskrit words. I'm also going to share some of my personal experiences. Each name in Lalita Sahasranamam has a profound significance in terms of the entire gamut of Sanatana Dharma and philosophy. To recite these names is to get totally immersed in the wealth of their meanings. It's a sure and easy way to concentrate and on the Supreme Mother and enjoy the ecstatic states of experience. Now, my ancestral village is Maharajapuram, which is adjacent to another village called Bhaskara Rajapuram. I don't know how many of you heard of the great Devi Upasaka Bhaskar Raya. He wrote the commentary or the Bhashyam on Lalita Sahasranamam called Saubhagya Bhaskaram. Adi Shankara attempted to write it, but he could not do. Instead, he wrote the Bhashyam for Vishnu Sahasranamam. Bhaskar Raya, in his later years, he lived in this adjacent village of mine in Bhaskar Rajapuram. You'll find more information on Bhaskar Raya in one of my videos, which is uploaded on YouTube. It is titled Bhaskar Raya Parichayaha, an introduction to Bhaskar Raya. So I am going to draw some authentic points from his great book on Saubhagya Bhaskaram, which is completely in Sanskrit, but it is one of the best that you can find on the Lalita Sahasranam explanation. So now I'm going to switch on to some slides here. This is going to be the first day of this lecture series. In this session 1, I propose to start with an introduction to Lalita Sahasranamam. This will cover the origin, the background, contents, some highlights, and meaning of some Sanskrit words, and the Dhyana Slokam, which is very important. I'll also share some of the slides with you to help better understanding, at least some bullet points which you can remember easily, because visual appearance always makes an impact. And your feedback on these always welcome, and I can fine-tune my future lectures. So let's start at the very beginning, the origin and background of Lalita Sahasranamam. What is Lalita Sahasranamam? Where does it come from and all this? Lalita Sahasranama is a text from Brahmanda Purana, not ordinary Purana, Brahmanda Purana. You know what is Brahmanda? Brahmanda means universal or cosmic egg. In Hindi, Anda means egg. Brahmanda means a huge egg, which is what? The universal egg. And Brahmanda was discovered long ago, before the modern scientists ever discovered. It is a word which is used in many other scriptures, including the Dhyana Slokam of Sri Rudram. Some of you might know it. Apatala navastalanda bhavana brahmandama vispurat jyotis partikalinga mori vilasat purne dvanda mridaihi. There comes bhavana brahmandam. So Brahmanda Purana is a Sanskrit text and the last one of the 18 major Puranas of Veda Vyasa. You know, it covers detailed description of the creation of cosmos, time as a dimension, and details of Kalpa and Yuga, long before scientists discovered cosmos. And the other part is Lalita Upakhyanam. Lalita Upakhyanam highlights the goddess theology and her central importance. Now, where does this Lalita Sahasranamam come? It comes as a dialogue between Hayagriva and the sage Agastya. Now, who was Hayagriva? The name Hayagriva consists of two words, Haya and Griva. Haya means horse, and Griva means neck. It literally means one whose neck is that of a horse. And it refers to the avatara, incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself. I will tell you the story as it appears in Devi Bhagavatam. Once an extremely tired Lord Vishnu, he fell asleep, resting his head on a bow. Now Brahma and Rudra, they wanted to awaken him from his sleep. So they said, okay, we'll do something. They introduced some ants to bite the bowstring so that he gets a little disturbance and then he will wake up. It was done, but what happened was the bowstring broke off and it snapped the head of Lord Vishnu. It was unfortunate, but it happened. So what to do? They could not find the head and worshipped Amba, Tripura Sundari, who directed them to join the head of a horse to the body. Why a horse? Because horse represents power. You all know we still call the power as horsepower, the power of an engine, the power of a motor. These are all termed as horsepower because horse represents power. So Vishnu had a head transplant like Gajanana. You know, our ancestors specialized in all these organ transplants. Head was transplanted and Vishnu was transformed into Hayagriva. These days you hear of organ transplants like kidney and heart and so on, but no head transplant so far. Only in Sanatana Dharma, ancient days, you find this head transplant has taken place of a horse and also an elephant. Next, coming to Agastya. Who was Agastya? Agastya, again, is derived from two words, Aga and Stya. Aga means mountain. Stya means to fix Thiram, to fix it. There are many stories about Agastya. Agastya is one of the very famous sage in the Saptarishi constellation. He was one of them. He is the son of Pulastya. Pulastya is the Manasika Putra of Brahma, conceived from his mind. He appears in numerous Puranas, Itihasas, and epics, including Ramayana and Mahabharata. In fact, he is credited with composing the very famous Aditya Hridayam Stotram, which is in praise of sun god as Upadesham to Lord Sri Rama. When he struggled to defeat Ravana, he was depressed, he was frustrated, and he didn't know what to do. At that time, Lord Sri Rama was praying and he didn't know what to do. And Agastya appeared before him and taught him Aditya Hridayam in praise of sun god. And Sri Rama was very greatly inspired by the stotra and defeated Ravana. It is also believed that he composed the very famous song, Sri Chakra Raja Simhasaneshwari, Sri Lalita. This song is very popular and it is believed he was the composer, although the tuning was probably done much later. And Agastya is well known in many of the Southeast Asian countries, including Java and Indonesia. He was a unique sage, known to be short and heavy in build. If you have seen some pictures of Agastya, you know what I mean. Now, the story goes that once the Vindhya mountains, which is in the central part of India, it started growing up in gigantic proportion, and it was very arrogant and had his ego. I am growing. Many people have it. Even mountains have the same thing. So sage Agastya, he desired to subdue the pride of India. So for this purpose, he came from North India and fixed its ego, stopped its growth by telling Vindhya mountains, you have to stop growing until I come back. I'm going to cross over to the south. When I come back, then you can start growing. Very strategic move by him. And the Vindhya mountains agreed to it. But he never came back. He stayed in south. Now it shows a short, humble man could conquer a big mountain and suppress its ego. It shows humility can conquer the mighty. So don't underestimate short people. They have enormous power. So thereafter, it is believed Agastya settled down in South India, and he was very distressed by the evil trends in Kali Yuga, and he did a very severe penance, meditating on Lord Vishnu. And the sage asked Hayagriva. Vishnu appeared in the form of Hayagriva, and To Hayagriva, Agastya asked, "You please tell me the story of Parashakti, Adi Shakti." It was then that the Hayagriva Agastya Samvadam took place. Vadam is argument, but Samvadam is a discussion for a good purpose. Hayagriva tells the Lalita Upakhana to Agastya. Lalita and Upakhana. Upakhana, it together means the great narrative of Lalita. And Hayagriva tells the story of Lalita in detail to Agastya Maharshi. He describes the Sri Pura, Sri Chakra in all its glory, the abode of Ambal, the greatness of 15-syllable Panchadasi, the unity of Sri Yantra, and so on. But Hayagriva does not tell him about Lalita Sahasranamam. So Agastya Maharshi asks, I'm going to recite this in Sanskrit. It is appearing in the Purva Bhaga of Lalita Sahasranamam. Na tu Sri Lalita Devyaha Proktam Nama Sahasrakam Tatra me samsayojato Hayagriva Dayanide Kim va tvaya vismritam tajñatva va samupekshitam mama va yogyada nasti srotum nama sahasrakam kimartam bhavata noktam tatra me karanam vada. He says, "O Lord, you told me about Lalita Devi, but you did not tell me the Nama Sahasrakam. Tatra me samsayo jato. I have my doubts. Why it happened? Hayagriva dayanite, oh compassionate dayanite. Hayagriva, kim va tvaya vismrutam. Did you forget it? Intentionally or by ignorance? Tad jnatva. Mamama, or you thought I am not worthy of it. Mamama yogyada nasti. I don't, எனக்கு யோகிதம் இல்லையா in Tamil? Srotum Nama Sahasram, to listen to it, am I not qualified? Am I not worthy? Kimartam Bhavata Noktam Tatrame Karanam Vada. Please tell me the reason why you didn't tell me the Lalita Sahasranamam. Now, having heard this particular question from Agastya, Hayagriva replied. This is also in Sanskrit in the Purva Bhagam. I'm going to read it out for you. Sri Hayagriva Uvacha Lopa Mudre Pategascha Savadana Manasruno Nam Ram Sagasram Jannoktam Karanam Tat Vadamite Ragasamiti Matvagam Noktavamste Charanyata Punascha Prichate Bhaktya Tasma Tatte Vadamyaham. He addresses Agastya's Lopa Putra's husband Agastya. You know, the wife is given more importance than the husband here. Like you say, Janaki Kantas Maranam. Janaki is given preference to Rama. That's how Lopamudra was Agastya's wife. And he says, Lopamudra's husband, Agastya, you were famous because you happen to be Lopamudra's husband. Please listen to me carefully. Savadhanam Manasrunu. I will tell you the reason why I didn't tell you Sahasranamam. I thought Ragasyamiti. I thought it is a secret and not for any other reason. It's called Gukhyadi Gukhyam, secret of all secrets. Ragasyam Nama Sahasra, it's called. When you say anything secret, you know, it evokes a lot of interest for people, right? When you say secret and tell a woman, please keep it as a secret, you can be sure it will be spread to all places. So this secret is something which is evoking interest. But unless you ask, I cannot say that. So you have asked me again. Punascha Prichate Bhaktya. You have asked me with lot of devotion and bhakti again. So now I will tell you. So it should not be taught to anyone without bhakti. Hayagriva then told the Lalita Sahasranamam to Agastya Maharshi. So it is believed that Agastya was initiated into the Sahasranamam at Tirumiyachur. Tirumiyachur is the name of the city near Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu. It is where there is a big temple for Lalita. In the next slide, I'll show you the Gopuram of the temple. Now, the question is, how did Lalita Devi originate? And how did this Lalita Sahasranamam come? Who composed it? The Purana says that Lalita Devi herself commanded the 8 Vak-devatas. Vak-devatas literally meaning goddess of speech, to compose the Sahasranama in praise of her. Asya Sri Lalita Sahasranama Stotrasya Mahamantrasya Vasinyadi Vak-devata Rishayaha. You know, these 8 Vak-devatas are Vasini, Kameshwari, Aruna, Vimala, Jaini, Modini, Sarveshwari, Kaulini. They are all 8 different Vak-devatas. So they all took up the command of Lalita Devi. They composed it, the Lalita Sahasranamam. So worshippers of goddess Lalita Devi, they all look upon her as a divine mother in the form of Shakti. So now, how did Lalita Devi originate? There is a very interesting story about it. You know, lectures can be very boring if there is no story, you know. So let me narrate the story. In brief, Lord Shiva, he married Sati, the daughter of Daksha. Now, Daksha was again, like Agastya, Pulastya, a Manasika Putra of Brahma, born out of Brahma's mind. Sati was called as Dakshini. Like many in-laws in today's times, Daksha and son-in-law never got along well. And Daksha really hated his son-in-law Shiva. So when Daksha proposed to conduct a very big yagam, yajnam, he didn't invite Shiva intentionally. He didn't even invite his daughter, but invite everybody else. However, Sati, you know, she was so affectionate to her father. She told Shiva, you know, invitations sometimes get delayed. There might be postal delay, something like that. He might not have got the invitation. But anyway, I think my father will not mind. I will go and attend the event. So Shiva said, you will not be treated well there. Oh, no, my father, I know him very well. He will treat me well. So she went ahead. But what happened was Daksha did not even welcome his daughter and in fact insulted Shiva. So Sati felt shattered completely. Now, Bhagavatam, there is a very nice slokam which I want to quote here. Sati actually addresses her father Daksha in the verse, which reads like this: Yad dvayaksharam nama gireritam dranam sakrit prasangat agam asuhu hanti tat pavitra kirtim tam alangya sasanam bhavanaho dveshti shivam sive taraha. She addresses her father as Bhavan with respect. Respected father. Yad dvayaksharam, the 2 aksharam Shiva, even if it is uttered, you know, by chance, not intentionally, you are not giving a lecture. I just say Shiva by chance. Even that, it destroys the sin of one instantly. Agam asuhu hanti tat. That instant itself, the sins are washed away. That is the power of those 2 letters Shiva. And he is pure, Pavitra Kirtin. Lord Shiva is always pure. And no one else except you hate him. Dveshti Shivam Sive Taraha. The last word is Sive Taraha. Sive Itaraha means anti-Shiva. You are the only one who is anti-Shiva. And everybody else loves him because he is pure. And his name has so powerful it destroys the sons. The last word is really the Shive Taraha is very important, and Sati Dakshinayari was so distressed, unable to bear the humiliation by her own father. in sheer disgust and disappointment, she jumped into the holy fire and ended her life. On hearing this, Shiva got furious and he ordered his Bhutaganas to kill Daksha and destroy the Yajna. There are several versions of the story, but what is important is Shiva later entered into a very deep meditation. Sati reincarnated as Parvati, daughter of Himan, king of the mountains, and she married Shiva in her next birth. At that time, the Devas faced an enemy called Tarakasura, who had a boon that he could be killed only by a son of Shiva and Parvati. And Shiva was already in meditation. So to arouse Shiva from the meditation, Devas deputed Manmata, the god of love, who shot his flower arrow to Shiva to arouse him from sleep and meditation. No, in the anger of being disturbed, Shiva opened his third eye, which reduced Manmata to ashes. Ambal took Manmata's sugarcane, bow, and arrows and stood in front of Lord Ishvara and looked at Ishvara with love and affection. With a bow and arrow in her hands, love and affection and vision, she assumed the form of Kamakshi. Kama means Rao and Akshi means eyes. Kamakshi, also known as Kameshwari. Now, Devas and Rati Devi, the wife of Manmata, they pleaded with Paramashiva to give life to Manmata. And Paramashiva looked at the ashes of Manmata. But what happened? From the ashes arose one Asura, a demon called Bandasura, who started troubling, harassing the Devas and made them miserable. So a new problem came up, how to get rid of this Bandasura. So Devas, under the leadership of Indra, then sought the advice of sage Narada, who told them, you conduct a great yajna and seek the help of Adi Parashakti. And from this holy fire of the yajna, called Chitagni, arose Lalita Devi to fulfill the task for the Devas to kill Bandasura. Chitaknikunda Sambhuta, Deva Karya Samudyata, Sapt is Ishwaran, and Chit is Ambikai. This knowing or awareness gives happiness. That happiness is what is called Anandam. So Ishwara and Ambal, Kameshwara and Kameshwari together are Satchit Anandam or Satchidanandam. Sat referring to Ishwara and Chit Ambikai, both together give you happiness, Satchit Anandam. Agni Kunda is the fire altar in which the fire sacrifices are made. Sambhuta is born. So in Sanatana Dharma, everything of significance in people's life revolves around fire. Without fire, there is no lamp, there is no worship, no marriage, no yajna, no cooking, no significant event. Even for digesting food, we need fire in our stomach. You see, there is so much of importance given to fire. When we get inspired, we say we're fired up. He's fired up, you said, right? That means he's enthusiastic, he's inspired. At the same time, when one loses a job, he is fired. So fire is used in different terms. And in this case now, from the holy fire came Lalita Devi. She emerged as an extremely beautiful woman, having dark, thick, long hair, with the fragrance of flowers like Champaka and Asoka and Punnaga. Champaka, Asoka, Punnaga, Saugandhika, Lasaskacha. Lalita Sahasranamam describes her beauty and attributes in detail. Vagdevi sing the glory of Lalita Devi. Devi eventually kills Bandasura, as the story is included in the first 84 names of the first 34 slokas in Lalita Sahasranamam. So this is the end of the story of how Lalita Devi originated. So when you recite Lalita Sahasranamam, you should know how the Lalita Devi also came up and how the Sahasranama were composed. So we will go to the next slide, which will talk to you about the contents of Lalita Sahasranamam. Here you see a picture of the Lalitambika temple's Gopuram in Tirumiyachur. It's a fantastic, beautiful Gopuram. And Lalita Devi is the Vigraham is inside this temple. Now the contents of Lalita Sahasranamam, what it does. But first I'd like to tell you the meaning of Lalita. Lalita literally means one who plays. This is a definition from Saubhagya Bhaskaram. I'm not quoting myself. The Padma Purana says, having passed beyond the world, she plays. Hence she called Lalita. What does she play? What does play mean? Have you seen a mother and baby playing together? They don't talk. The baby looks at the mother's face and smiles beautifully. No talking. The mother responds with a hug and a kiss and tickles the baby with her fingers. The baby laughs beautifully. That is a kind of play, but mother and play enjoying together. It is an exclusive world for them. The baby feels safe and protected by the mother. It will not trust any strangers. Any stranger wanting to lift it, no, it will turn its face away. Likewise, animals also display very strong maternal instinct. There are two Nyayams called Markata Nyayam and Marjar Nyayam. What is Markata? Markata is monkey. Have you seen how the monkeys carry the babies? The babies cling on to the stomach, the belly of the monkey. And the monkey jumps from one tree to another, one branch to another, and the baby feels absolutely safe, clinging on to the mother. We should cling on to Lalita Amba the same way, cling on to her. Marjara Marjara means cat. How the cat takes care of the kitten, it will hold it in a teeth, you must have seen it. Teeth. The teeth which are sharp but will not harm the kitten in any way. The kitten feels safe. So these are some of the examples of how maternal instinct play. That is a kind of unique relationship a devotee will develop with Lalitamba through chanting the Lalita Sahasranamam with devotion. Does it mean that Ambal has only love and nothing else? No, she will punish. She can also punish. We complain about it. You remember Yasoda and Krishna was a mischievous boy, and Yasoda tied him with a rope. That's why he called the name Damodaran. Dambukair, we say, actually come from Damo. Udaram means the stomach. Around the stomach, she tied a rope. So when a mother punishes a child, the child may think, what sort of a mother is she? She is a brutal woman, no mercy at all. I don't like her at all. She is punishing me. I'm a child. And just for a little mistake, she's punishing me. The child cannot think why the mother is punishing him. To correct him, to make him realize his mistakes and put him on the correct path. To some extent, all of us are like this child. However old we are unable to bear her punishment for our past misdeeds. We do not have the strength to get relief. We are just blaming the mother who tied our hands in the same manner to prevent us from committing the same misdeeds. Ambal has tied our hands with a cloth called, you may call it as challenges or problems. Devi Mahatmyam tells how Devi kills the bad guys. Don't we call the prisons as correctional facilities? They are meant to correct, isn't it? They are punished, but they are meant to correct them. That is why our deities hold weapons. So when we experience hardships, it is to alert and awaken us to reality. Ambal is actually described as Graha Anugraha Daini. She is the one who does the Anugraham. And the larger context, the play, Lalita, it includes the creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the universe. So help devotees get out of samsara, the cycle of repeated births and deaths. Now coming to the contents, what does it contain? Now Lalita Sahasranam has three parts: the Purva Bhaga, the Stotra, and Uttara Bhaga. The Purva Bhaga has got 51 verses. The Stotra is 182, and Uttara Bhaga is 87 verses. The Purva Bhaga, it talks about the origin of the sloka. I mentioned some slokams in the beginning, and it contains 1,000 names of Lalita Devi. At the Uttara Bhaga, he gives the details of the Palasruti, you can say. It gives the details of what benefits we get. It is all set in what is called Anshtup Chandas, the meter. There are 32 letters divided into quarters of 8 letters each. Now, as far as the stotras are concerned, it's a description, starts with the description of the physical form of Lalita Devi, what is called Keshadi Padavarnana, from the top, from the head down to the feet. Normally in many stotram you will find from feet upwards, but here it is probably because Lalita Devi herself came with the head first from the holy fire, therefore it is Keshadi Padavarnana. It gives a description of the abode of Ambal, Srinagara Varnana, Bandasuravadam, Mantra Rupam, Bhakta Anugraham, Nirgunopasana, Sagunopasana, Panchabrahma Swarupam, Kshetra Rupam, then Stotram ending with Shivasaktya Aikyam, the oneness of Kameshwari and Kamaswara. The worship of Lalita Amba is two kinds. One is what is called Nirguna, without physical form, which is difficult because you have to imagine it is very hard. The other one is called Saguna, with form. And Saguna worship is easier, and Lalita Sahasranamam provide you opportunity for both Nirguna and Saguna Upasana. She is a Parashakti, the ruling universe, ruling the entire universe. The 1,000 names are 1,000 mantras. Now, what is a mantra? Manana trayati iti mantraha. That which protects you by repetition in your mind. Tra is the verb. Tra is to protect. Now, this word mantra is now in the English dictionary also. In the management, you can say it is a kind of a panacea for all ills. If there is a problem, they'll say, what is the management mantra, right? That's a kind of impact mantra is made in the Western world too. Now, it can be chanted in terms of Sotra or Namavali form. Most importantly, the names have to be pronounced correctly. One needs to practice it. I've seen some people really torture the names, they twist it because of ignorance, or maybe they don't know the Devanagari script, they are not able to pronounce it. For example, take the word Maharagni, Ragni, you say, the very first line of Lalita Sahasranamam. But Nya as in Jnana or Yajna, Nya. It's got a sound of Nya. But some people have trouble pronouncing the Nya. So they recite the word as Maharangi, which is easier, and it is Maharang. By this, we not only not get the desired result, but we get bad results. So the rule is to chant correctly with devotion, dedication, and belief, and complete surrender to Goddess Lalita Devi. I need to emphasize on the right pronunciation. Mantras are not merely a combination of sounds, but they are something which are beyond. There are 4 levels of speech, as they call: Para, Paschanti, Madhyama, Vaikari. Madhyama, Vaikari. Vaikari is the speech which we operate normally by mouth alone, with the physical tongue. Madhyama is a medium which emerges through the nose, via the breath. Paschanti is to see. It is spoken with eyes. And Para is above all, it is telepathic. You may call it as intuition or sixth sense, materializing directly from the faculty of awareness. Now, you can speak volumes by merely looking at the eyes. You can't lie with your eyes. If you look at somebody on the eye, if they tell the lie, it will come. We in Tamil, we address our loved ones in Kanne, my eyes, That's how you really hug somebody, and Kanne, and not use words like in Kade and Muke, That's not used. Kan is so important. So this is important that is given to eyes. The speaker's true intentions can be easily judged by the eye. Animals have got a special, the transmission through eye. They can read it. Dogs particularly, they can read. So there are many animals, they can see, and then they can communicate. That's why Ambal has got meanings, many names like Kamakshi, Meenakshi, Visalakshi. Akshi means eyes. So that is how it is goes on. So going on further, I want to tell you something about the beauty of uh, Lalita Sahasranamam. You will go to the next slide. It is all two-liner poetical verses. It's so beautiful. The Namas extol Devi in all her attributes, achievements, powers, and forms. And most Hindu names are connected with divine meanings, I'll give you some example like Gauri Shankar, Chandramouli, Krishnamurti, Hariharan, Natarajan, Rambamurti, Sri Ram, etc. But in America, these names are shortened for convenience, like Krishnamurti has become Krish, Pattaviraman has Pat, Soma Sundara has become Soma, Subramanian has become Subi, Rajaram has become Raj, and so on. And there is something very special about female names in Sanatana Dharma. Most of them end either in A or E. I am letting into a secret. For example, you see Lalita, Aparna, Ambika, Durga, Vidya, Rekha, Radha, and so on. Ending with E, you find Meenakshi, Kamakshi, Saraswati, Vishali, Bhavani, Ranjani, Kumari, all these are ending in E, right? You'll find almost many number of names fall into this category. So it is something very great, I should say. Lalita, the beauty of Lalita Sahasranamam is that no names are repeated. And here, I want to give you an example of this, how the two-liner verses are so beautifully. Bhavani, Bhavana, Gamya, Bhavaranya Kutarika, Bhadra Priya, Bhadramurti, Bhakta Saubhagyadayini, Bhakti Priya, Bhakti Gamya, Bhakti Vasya, Bhayapaha. Every line starts with the word, with the Bha. You see, it is so rhythmic and so nice. You take Sha, Shambhavi, Sharada, Radhya, Sarvani, Sarmadhayini, Sha. Where can you find such a glorious verse in anywhere in the world? There are 1,000 such two-line verses. Just imagine, 1,000. And you have the Sahasradala Padmam. On the right side, you see the rose, the lotus, with 1,000 petals. So Sahasranama is like that, with 1,000 petals. One single flower having 1,000 petals. That is the exquisite beauty of Lalita Sahasranama. And eyes of Ambal are all compared to each petal, like Pankajakshi, Ambujakshi, Kamakshi, all these are like petals. The lotus is a beautiful flower. You see, it grows in muddy waters. That is why we call Ambuja or Pankaja. Likewise, the Lalita Sahasranam is a beautiful gift to us, to humanity, which is mired in muddy waters like the way we live. The stress and strains of modern life can be compared to our living in muddy situation. And Lalita Sahasranam is a lotus, beautiful 1,000-petal lotus given to us as a gift to humanity. So great is the beauty of Lalita Sahasranam. And it has got the beauty of what you call Alankara. Alankara is exquisite beauty. It has got many 16-syllable words, 8-syllable, 4-syllable. Vishnu Sahasranama has got only 3-syllable mostly. So this Sahasranama does not use any conjunction, like tu, cha, api. These are all conjunctions. They are not used here. It's a unique enumeration. And this is something which is great in the beauty of Lalita Sahasranamam. So it starts with this Devi's avataram and then goes on with the other details of Devi's encounter and so on. It's got phonetic excellence. It improves the clarity of speech and memory. As you chant with correct pronunciation, your tongue starts rolling and your speaking skill will gradually improve. In fact, I had helped a very young, timid schoolboy in Chicago to improve his speech and enhance his self-confidence by teaching him Sri Rudram. his mother came and profusely thanked me for what I did to him. A couple of lessons, and the boy is now grown up, but it's a typical example how it can improve one's the speech and clarity. That's a very important thing. It improves your EQ, what is called emotional quotient, halts your bonding mind and help you to concentrate, focus your energy, and simplest approach to elevate one's quality of living. You can experience it yourself. And Lalita Devi is the Supreme Mother. In fact, starts with the very first word. Lalita Sahasranamam is Sri Mata, Sri Mata, and Sri Mata. In English, you call mother. In Sanskrit, you call Mata. And every baby calls Ma. A calf, newborn calf says Ma, Ma. See, it is all speaking the glory of mother. And there is nothing to replace a mother. And it is Parashakti. Parashakti means Para is superlative in Sanskrit. Like you have Parameshwaran. But there is a song Parat Para Parameshwara. So mother is given the greatest importance in Sanatana Dharma. You say Matru Devo Baba, Pitru Devo Baba, like in Taitra Upanishad, it says that. You call nature as mother nature, country as motherland, India as Bharat Mata. So the Lalita Sahasranamam is meant to create an intimate relationship like between adorable mother and a child. And many years ago, I want to give you this experience. I was in Madras Central Station with all the noise to board a train in the night. And people were sleeping on the platform. You know how crowded it is, it's chaotic, all these trolleys going and the engines blaring out, people talking loudly and all that. I took a walk on the platform and I found many people sleeping. There was a mother and child sleeping together. They were sleeping blissfully, peacefully, unmindful of the noise around. But the baby started crying suddenly. And in a moment, the mother woke up. She fed the child and again went back to sleep. What surprised me was that the mother and child slept well with all the noise around, but the mother could hear just the shrill cry of her baby as if there was a telepathic connection. This is a kind of unique relationship that is possible with the Supreme Mother, who is conscious of all her children. You might ask, is it possible? I will say emphatically the answer is yes. It is possible, as many Devi devotees will tell you. And there is this famous slokam which comes in Lalita Sahasranamam. It's called Panchakritya Parayana. It is there in the slide, you can read it. Srishtikatri Brahmarupa Goftri Govinda Rupini Samharini Ruddharupa Tirodhanakarishwari Sadashiva Nugrahata Panchakritya Parayana. Srishtikati means who? Srishtikati is one who creates. Who creates? Brahma. And Devi is described as Srishtikati in Brahma Rupa. She is in the Brahma Rupa, right? And the preserver, Goftri, who is Govinda, Vishnu. She is also the preserver, Goftri Govinda Rupini. And she is also the one who destroys, dissolution. She was Samharini Ruddha Rupa. What is Tirodhana? Tirodhana is Maya, illusion. She is also an aspect of Maya. And finally, Sadashiva Anugrahada. She is an aspect of Sadashiva while blessing. So there are 5 functions of the Supreme Mother. Not just one function, 5 functions. And she is also the one who is representing all the 5 entities. That power of Brahman is called Brahma Patni or Kameshwari. Now, I want to tell you something about the threefold aspects of Amba. I think I will probably take a little longer than 1 hour because there is going to be some more things to have to say. Is that okay?
That should be fine. Go ahead, please. That's okay.
Now, threefold aspects. Lalita Devi symbolizes many threefold aspects. We call them as triads. For example, she is mantra herself. She's also a yantra, also tantra. The 3. Every word, as I said, is mantra. So she resides in Sri Chakra. is worshipped in many places in either 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions like Meru. Is also the tantric sadhana. So it says Maha Tantra, Maha Mantra, Mahayantra, Mahasana, Mahayaga Kramaradya, Maha Bhairava Pujita. Lalita Sahasranamam says that, right? So mantra is one which protects by recitation. Yantra is, I'll switch slide. Yantra is what is called a device or a mystical diagram of, you must have seen that triangles and circles and squares, which is hung in a picture or as a meru. And Tantra is something which is a technique or a practice. Tripura, which represents 3 cities, symbolic of many, many trees. The 3 cities which are built of gold, silver, and iron in the sky, air, and earth by Maya for the Asuras, and which were destroyed by by Shiva, called Tripura Samhari. And she who has 3 cities, who is connected with Tripura, is Tripura Sundari. Tripura Sundari. Ambal is known as Tripura Sundari. So she's got 3 cities, 3 angles, 3 circles, 3 aspects, everything triple. And three Shaktis, Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. What does it mean? Icha Shakti, energy of will, and Jnana Shakti is energy of knowledge, and Kriya Shakti, energy of action. She also does 3 functions, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, which is, we talked about it earlier, and 3 gunas, which is Sat, Rajas, and Tamas, which is again the 3 kind of gunas people have, and that is also, she's representing that she's in all the 3 gunas. And lastly, it has 3 states like Jagrat, Swapna, and Susubdi, which is again different states. So see, there is a very important slogan which says Nirlepa, Nirmala, Nitya, Nirakara, Nirakula, Nirguna, Nishkala, Santa, Nishkama, Nirupaplava. She's one who is free from all impurity. She's eternal. She's without any form. She's cool without agitation. Nirguna means she's beyond all 3 gunas. And that is the one which has the definition in Lalita Sahasranamam. And she is therefore the sovereign supreme mother in all the 3 areas and resides in all 3 states. Now we go to the Jnana slokam, which is, Jnana means to focus your mind on the deity. The mind is like a monkey, it is jumping here and there like a monkey. Like in Tamil, you say, Manam oru kurangu, right? When you are about to start the Jnana slokam, you smell something from the kitchen, very fragrant smell, and your mind will think, I don't know what is cooking for dinner. And then the phone rings at the same time, then your mind goes away. Let me give an example. A man who had a constant headache went to a doctor, and the doctor examined him and said, it's all caused by work stress. I will give you medication. But when you take the medication, there should be one condition. What is that condition? You should not think about monkey, because your monkey is a wandering thing, your mind should be steady. So you should not think about monkey while taking the medication. And he took it, whenever he took the medication in the hand, the immediate thought that came to him was monkey. So doctor said, monkey, he started thinking about monkey. So the mind is not able to study. That is the reason why you have to hold this wandering monkey with a rope, with a tight leash, and that's, you have to need a practice. You have to focus, and the Lalita Sahasranamam should be recited after the Dhyana slokam, because it's also done at the end. Those who chant with their picture of Lalita, picturizing it in mind, then starting chanting of namas with Dhyana slokam, you can feel a different experience. Now, some highlights about this Dhyana sloka. It is a description of Ambal beautifully to stir your imagination and meditate upon our specific rupams. This Dhyana itself shows Lalita Ambika as a combination of all the 3 Devis, like Parvati, Lakshmi, and Saraswati. And in this whole Dhyana slokam, nowhere is the name of Lalita Ambika mentioned anywhere. That is something beautiful again. So she's everything else, Before reciting Lalita Sahasranamam, you should say these with devotion. If it is an Archana, we can stop with Namas itself, no need to recite. But I'll ask my Dharma Patni to sing this, and it is melodious to hear it, and then I'll give you the meanings quickly. Okay, over to my Dharma Patni Vidya Subramaniam.
Namaskaram. आभीन वक्षोरुहा पाणिभ्याम् अळिपूर्णरत्नशशखं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रति सौम्या रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणा ध्यायेत् पराम् अंबिका अरुणां करुणातरङ्किताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापा मणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विगचितवदनां पद्मभद्रायताक्षीम्.
Okay, with that little singing, I'm going to tell you the meanings of these particular slogam. Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanam. Red, if you look at it, has got 400 and odd shades. If you look up Google, you'll see that the color red has got 400 different shades. You have blood red, scarlet, crimson, burgundy, wine red, and so on and so on. Here, Amba's color is described as Sindhura Aruna. It is vermilion, an orange red, like what you see in Aruna, the rising sun, the dawn. If you look at, when you travel by train, sometimes you see the early morning sun rising up dawn. So beautiful. The whole place is orange red, sort of. So, Devi's color is here. The Vigraham means her form. It's so beautiful. It is red, orange red, like a rising sun. Trinayanam means three-eyed. Very easy to know that. Who has 3 eyes? Shiva. And Shiva and Kameshwari are always together. Ardhanarishwari. There is a beautiful temple of Ardhanarishwari in Tiruchengood near Erode, which I happened to visit last year. And it was something fantastic. Manikya Maulis Purate. Manikam means, rubies. And Mauli, he refers to the forehead or crown. Now, in this case, Ambal wears a crown which is studded with rubies. Only royalty wears crown, Now, the Kohinoor diamond, which was taken away from India, is now on the British royalty crown in London. See, Ambal is wearing that kind of a crown which has got rubies in it. And Tara refers to stars. Tara means stars. Nayaka means the chief or refers to the moon. Who is the chief of stars? Shekaram, which is moon. She is wearing the crescent moon. And Ambal wears it like Shiva too. Chandrasekhar we call. And the moon and mind are connected. That's how you get the term lunar or lunatic. Purusha Suktam says, Chandrama manaso jataha ashvo suryo ajayate. Chandrama manaso jata ashcho suryo ajayate. So it's coming from mind, the moon. And by holding the moon on her crown, Ambal is actually controlling your mind. Smita Mukhim. Smita Mukhim is silent, She's smiling face, always smiling face. There are people who go to the temple and stand before the deity with a face as if they have taken castor oil, Why should we not smile? It doesn't cost any money at all. People can smile. Always keep a smiling face. Ambal is demonstrating it. Smita Mukhim. And Ma Pina Vachoragam. Pina Vachoragam. She has a splendid bust. Maha, it's a source of nutrition to all living beings. All mothers feed their young ones through breast milk, and which is the purest form of food without any harmful ingredients. Pani Bhyam, Alipuna Ratna Sashakam. Pani means hand, like Kodanda Pani, Chakra Pani, you have, or Pani's hand. Ambal holds in one hand a jewel cup. Pani Pam Alipuna Ratna Sashakam. Not water, but with nectar, a nectar which is fermented honey with water. That is what she's holding. And Rattot Phalam Bibratim. In another hand, she holds a red colored flower, which is the lotus. Saumyam Ratnagadastha Rakta Charanam Jayet Param Ambikam. Means Ratna means rubies again. Gatam is pot. Ambal is keeping her foot on a pot, precious pot containing rare gems. I meditate. Jayet Param Ambikam. I meditate on the super Ambika. Para is superlative. So this is the first part of the jhana. It continues. Arunam Karuna Tarankidakshim Desa Pasankucha Pushpapana Chapam Adimati Viravrita Mayukai Ragamitte Vibhavaye Bhavanim. The first slokam itself means the Divine Mother is to be meditated, shining in a vermilion color, with triple eyes, sporting rubies on the crown, and with a very smiling face, and a splendid bust, one hand holding the jewel cup brimming with nectar, the other a lotus, and her foot on a pot containing gems. The second slokam, it says, Arunam Karunatansam, Aruna Karuna Tarankitakshin, Drita Pasankucha Pushpa Bana Chapam. The last word is Bhavanim. She's actually saying Bhavani. Bhavani means I meditate Bhavani. Bhava refers to Shiva and Bhavani is consort. Aruna again shines like a rising sun. Karuna, Aruna, Karuna rhymes so well. Karuna is merciful and Taranga is waves, waves of mercy. And she says, I am giving you the waves of mercy, which acts with my eyes. We can understand what she's holding in hand. Pasangusa Pushpabana Chapam. She's holding the noose, invisible noose, and Ankusha, which is a goat, which you have, if you see typically Ambal's hand, you have this Pushpa Bhana Chapam, Animadibi, Animabhira Vratam, which includes the 8 siddhis of Anima, and Mayu Kaiki Ragamitte Vibhavaye Bhavanim. And the Bhavani is what is stressed here, and Ambal is described as one who is holding the Pasa Ankusha and also the noose, Pasa Ankusha, with a flower in one hand and sugarcane in another one. So you have the description of Ambal here ending with the word Bhavani. Bhavani is something which is the consort of Shiva. Therefore, you meditate on Devi Bhavani. In Saundara Lahari, you have this story, Bhavani Tumdase Mai Vitra Dishtim Zakarunam, where Bhavani gives you the Bhavani Tum, the status of being Bhavani immediately. So that is again about Bhavani. And the slokam continues, Jayet Padmasanastam Vikasita Vadanam Padma Patrayadakshing Hemabam Pitavastram Karakalita Lasattema Padmam Barangim Sarvalankar Yuktam Satadam Avetam Bhakta Namram Bhavanim Sri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakala Suranatam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim. This Jayet Padmasanastam means I meditate on Divine Mother who is seated in the Padmasana, the Lotus Pose, In fact, you see Sharadamba and Kamakshi Amba, they are in the Padmasana pose. She is seated in the Padmasana pose, like you see in many pictures And also, Vikasita Vadanam, again like Spitamukhim, she possesses a charming face, which is also the cause for our upliftment, growth. Padma Patraya Takshim, her eyes are elongated like lotus petals. Even a side glance will do, what you call kataksham. Kataksham is the side glance. That will do for us. Hemabam Pita Vastram, wears yellow clothes. Golden complexion, Hema. Hema means gold. Karakalita Lasat Deva Padmambarangim, with a beautiful body that is a medium gait, neither too fat nor too thin, with a golden lotus held in hand. She attracts everyone. Sarva Alankara Yuktam Satatam Avayatam. She has Sarva Alankaram is Abharanam. Abharanam makes a woman beautiful, isn't it? I don't have to tell you. Everybody knows. You go to a jewelry store, you know what it is. So she is adorned with all types of decoration. Sarva Alankara. Satatam Abhayatam. She always gives the Abhaya Mudra, which is protection for all. Bhakta Namram Bhavanim. I am bowing down to that Bhavani mother. Sri Vidyam, Sri is embodiment of knowledge. Chantamurtim, peaceful form. Sakala Suranutam, worship with reference by all the Suras. Suras mean Devatas. Sarvas Sampat Pradatim, she bestows all forms of prosperity. Sarva Sampat. So here it is, the goddess meditated as one who is on the lotus Padmasana. She's golden hued, has lotus flowers in hand. She dispels the fear of devotees. She is the embodiment of peace. She is knowledge. She is praised by God and grants everything we wish for. Lastly, I think we're coming to almost the end of this. Sa kunkuma vilepana malikuchumbi kasturikam samantaghasitechanam sasarachapa pasankusham asesha janamohinim marunamalya bhusham param japa kusuma basuram japa vidos pare dampikam. You see, this is the last part of the Dhyana slogam. Sa kunkuma vilepana. Kunkuma, we know, is very auspicious in our dharma. Ambal is very pleased with kunkuma. You get kunkuma prasadam wherever you go to Ambal temple. She wears a kasturi. Alikushami kasturi. Kasturi is a musk, it's a fragrance derived from deer, and which is with the bindi that enhances her beauty. And towards the fragrance of kasturika, the bees encircle around her. Samanta Hasitechanam. Hasna means laugh in Hindi. Her laugh is kind of gentle, lovable. It's beautiful. So it is a benevolent smile. Sastara Chapa Pashan Kusham. I mentioned about this earlier. Holds the weapons, bows and arrows, sugar cane as bow and flowers, and as flowers, the arrows, and the gourd and the noose. Pasan Kucha Hastadharim. I say, Asesa Jana Mohinim. She has the power of attracting everybody. Jana Mohinim. Mohinim, she will attract everybody. And Arunamalya Bhusham Param. Arunamalya Bhusham Param, she is wearing a red garland, which is exquisite. Japa Kusuma Basuram, blowing like a red hibiscus flower, and wears it. Japa Kusuma. Japa Vidos Pare Dampikam. One has to meditate on this form of divine Mother Ambika during japa, during recitation of the Sahasranamam. So we meditate on this mother whose eyes are smiling, she holds an arrow, she's glittering with red garland, she has kunkuma, and is red and tender like the japa flower. Now we have to stop here with this, and I would like to conclude this session with this Dhyana Slokam completely. We will start with the Stotram in the next session. So I would like to conclude it with our last piece. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Parashakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Parashakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Parashakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Parashakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. Om Swasti Prajape Paripalayantam Nyayena Markena Mahim Mahisa Go Brahmanebhyo Subhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all for participating. Until next time, namaste to all.
Given an opportunity.
Tim sir, you want to give a few words?
Yeah. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So it's my great pleasure to thank Shri Sundaresan, fondly known as Guruji Subi, a Devi Upasaka, scholar and public speaker, for his introductory lecture on the meaning of the Magnum treatise, Sri Lalita Sahasranamam. In the Panashruti, there is the opening verse, Idyevam nama sahasram kaditam de gadodbhava rahasyanam rahasyam cha lalita priti dayaka. So this is a fortunate evening for us because we are able to listen to such careful and thoughtful explanations of Amba's 1,000 divine names, mantras, like he said. So Rahasya mantras he's explaining, and he's going to explain the coming weeks. Some of us may recite Lalita Sahasranamam every day, but of course, saying a slokam and truly knowing the meaning of slokam are two different things. The knowledge we will have gained by the end of this lecture series will help us better understand the finer aspects of Sanatana Dharma principles, like Guruji said, in general, and significance of Lalita Sahasranamam leading to a dharmic life in particular. Thank you, Dr. Jambunathan, for the idea of this series and for kicking things off with a warm introduction. And let us take a moment to really appreciate how much work has gone into today's speech, both by Guruji Subi's beautiful presentation, deep analysis, lucid explanations aided by vivid displays, as well as the meticulous efforts of SVBF media organizing team spearheaded by Sova. So much seva for our betterment. And thank you all. So please ensure that you mark future sessions on your calendar to benefit fully from this extraordinary journey of knowledge. We will see you all on July 18th, which is the third Sunday in the month of July. Thank you all.
Thank
Over to
you all.
Soma.
Thank you all again.
Thank you. Thank you all again. I think, thank you so much. It's excellent lecture. I think Dr. Jambunathan generally gives a two-word summary of this, or at least what is the key take from his side. Maybe I'll do the honors this time. I think I loved the concept of making sure that we say the mantrams in the correct pronunciation. That's a very important piece on that. The second aspect is like how you touch a fire, it will burn you whether you touch it knowingly or unknowingly. Saying the Bhagwan Nama will help us whether we know the meaning or not as well. So all of us who have been saying, at least quite a few of us who have been saying the mantrams, Lalita Sahasranamams without the meaning, we still get the fall. But let's understand and say, and that's going to make it even more enjoyable for all of us. Thank you very much. What a fabulous start to this. As Tim Meenaksundaramji said, I think next lecture is on 18th. And it's such a beautiful start and so much deep meaning in it about the Meenakshi, Kamakshi, and all. So if there are any questions, I know I have a few. We didn't have time. Please send this out to lslectures@svbfnorth.org. And Guru Subiji will be happy to respond back, or hopefully in the next time when we meet on July 18th, he can go ahead and go through the explanations. So thank you so much for coming. Excellent start. Thank you so much. And you can finish it off with the Mangalam, Shringeri Mangalam.
Chandramulishwari Shakti Ganapati Sharadambige Shankaracharya Rike Shakti Ganapati Mahaganapati Sharadambige Kala Bhairava Kali Durgai Dhira Dhira Chora Hanuma Maruti Charanatike Mallikarjuna Selva Janardana Amba Bhavan Pada Ganapati Chandi Chamundi श्री कृष्ण भगवान के श्री चक्रवासिनी के सीता राम लक्ष्मण सहित मारुति चरण के विद्यारण्यर के विद्याशंकर के वागीश्वर के वज्रदेग गरुड़ आंजनेयर के श्रीवल्ली देव सेना समेत सुब्रमण्यर के तुंगभद्रै के श्रृंगनिवासिनी के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிலைத்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே सच्चिदानंद शिव अभिनव नृसिंह भारती के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु सार्वभौमर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विद्यातीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु भारती तीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विदुशेखर भारती के मंगलम गुरु श्री चंद्रमौलीश्वर के शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बी शंकराचार्यर के शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाம்பிகை के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிறைந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you again. Until we meet next month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Om Sri Matre Namaha.